To learn the good, the bad, and the reality of the nomadic lifestyle, click the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Click the bell notification. So as you know, Carolyn and I have decided that we're going to quit the nomadic lifestyle and that we're going to start doing some off-grid living in the state of Missouri, in a tiny house. We recently just bought a piece of property, and we're going to start developing the property here pretty shortly. I'm going to get the well going. We already bought the well. The well is sitting right here. And so when it warms up, right now, today it's like 28 degrees, a little breeze. So when it warms up, hopefully into the 40s in the next couple of weeks, we are going to go down there and install the well. And then we're going to try to build a base for the camper so we can take the camper off and actually live in the camper on the property, and then we can start slowly building our house. So as you know, we came up here from Texas. We were in Texas and we were going from city park to city park to city park, enjoying free electric and free water. Those city parks would allow you to stay from 3 to 5 days. And you just go around Lubbock, Texas. There's probably a 200-mile length from the southwest of Texas to the northwest of Texas. And then you can flip up to the other side and come back down. And it was really nice. We did that in the spring, and then we were doing it in the winter. So we got there in October, and we left, I guess, right at the beginning of January to come up to Missouri. And we came up to Missouri because we thought we had found a really good deal on 10 acres that just couldn't wait. So we came up here, and of course we knew it was going to be cold. That didn't pan out, so we thought we'd just go ahead and stay up here at Mom's house and start looking for property. Our plan was to come up here in April and start looking for property. And then, of course, they bought this piece of property. And so really we're just kind of waiting for it to warm up and start living our off-grid adventure. Now, of course, a lot of folks have suggested that now we've bought the property, we need to get back on the road because it's just way too cold up here. And I agree, it's cold. We've spent every winter of our nomadic lifestyle in Missouri in the winter, one reason or another. And you would think that we would just try to avoid it at all costs. But I have said many times, you cannot avoid living in climates outside the season that you want to, if you want to stay warm, you would think you go south, but it's just going to happen. You're coming north. And when you want to stay cooler, you're going to end up in the desert. It happens. And so we've just resigned ourselves to the fact that this is our life. We're going to start living in Missouri, and winter is just part of Missouri. Hopefully, after we get everything built, we can go and travel down to Florida, visit my dad in the wintertime. That's kind of the idea. But, that's so far in the future, we're not worried about it. It's going to take a couple years to build our tiny house. We're going to build it in stages. My goal is to spend about $500 a month buying materials. Each month it'd be like rent. We'll pay $500 in materials. We'll build a floor. And then next month we'll spend another $500 and build a wall. That way we're not just continuously dipping into our savings account. I don't want to get into the savings account. We've already spent several $1,000s buying the piece of property, and then we're going to spend some more money getting where we can just live on it in the camper. And take our time, make sure the building is built correctly. We meet all the code requirements. Also, if in the future, Carolyn wants to hook up to the electric, something happens to me, she wants to hook up to the electric, she can hire an electrician. He puts in the wire from a meter base to the house, and she takes it off the converter, and boom, it's done. But getting back to the question, why don't we get back on the road to travel and wait until spring to come back up here? Well, there's a few reasons. I have said in many of my videos that Carolyn and I are just completely burned out on the nomadic lifestyle. It was really making me not feel well. Back in October, we decided that we were going to quit the nomadic lifestyle. And we were going to spend the next 4 years getting ready to do that. We weren't in any hurry. We were going to save up more money. It was going to be a 4-year plan. Well, it's been accelerated to like 6 months. And what happened is maybe November, December timeframe, we were sleeping, and we got a beat on the door. Boom, 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 at one of the city parks where I knew that we were allowed to stay at. And for some reason, I woke up, and I thought it was the police. It wasn't. I opened the door, and there was a drunk guy out there, and he was just belligerent and upset and wanted us to move, and we had to call the police. And And at that point, Carolyn and I said, you know what, we're really done with this. And so we did. We aggressively started looking for property. Carolyn found 2 or 3 pieces that she was interested in, and that's why we ended up in Missouri. But I wasn't feeling well. I made several videos telling you how mentally, I was just exhausted. I was tired of it. And I kept trying to figure out why I felt mentally weaker, why everything seemed to stress me out 10 times worse than it really needed to. You know, something would break, you know, something silly. I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And so I kept looking up and I was thinking, well, maybe it's the diet, and maybe it's just I'm not sleeping because of all the lights coming into the windows. And it was just one thing after another that I kept making excuses that's why I wasn't feeling well. Well, when we got back to Missouri, I was here 3 days. And the first time in, I would say, 6 months, I slept all the way through the night. I hadn't done that in ages. I was always on guard. I was hyper vigilant. Any little noise, you know, I wear earplugs, but you know, the truck bounced a little bit because of, you know, a wind, and I'm awake. I got to Missouri after 3 days, and I just slept through the night. And it's been like that very consistently. And I feel safe. I feel better. Not every little thing is stressing me out. Something goes wrong. Oh, well, you know, I can fix it. I know how to do it. I know where the store is. I know where the bank is. So for us to just rush back down to Texas or Florida so we can endure the winter a little bit more comfortable, I wouldn't be any more comfortable. Now, the second reason is financially. It's not a huge financial burden. I mean, we can go back down to Texas, but it's going to cost money. We've spent a lot more money this month getting up here. I mean, you got gas costs. Oklahoma, I think we spent like $40 or $60 in tolls. It seems like it was that much. I mean, I might be a little off. I wasn't keeping track. All of a sudden, we ran up on this toll, and I'm handing out $5 at a time and $2 at a time. It's very windy this time of the year going through Oklahoma and Texas, and with this big sail, you know, it's just constantly pounding. You get about 12 miles to the gallon. So that was a huge expense that we weren't really expecting. Now, we were expecting to have to spend that in April, so the one-way trip had it all planned out. But if we go back, we'll end up doubling that cost. So let's say it costs $500 going out to eat, and gas costs and toll costs and all those costs. So now we're going to be $500, $1,000. It's just more money that I would rather spend developing our property, getting the well ready, buying solar panels, and start building our little tiny house. The other thing is I've already paid for the electric that we're going to be using. I paid in advance here at Mom's house. And look, when you are docking in someone's house with your camper, a lot of people say it's mooch docking. Well, I'm just not going to mooch dock. I really want to pay for, you know, my expenses the best I can. I don't know how well we can break down the cost, but you can't expect someone else to absorb an entirely new house. I mean, think about it. We're running a heater, we're running a refrigerator, the computers. So that's extra cost that you're asking someone else to pay for just because, you know, you decided to drop in and visit. You know, if we were staying inside the house, that would make sense. But, you know, they work second shift. We're up at 5 a.m. So that would be a disturbance in their routines and our routines. So that's extra cost. So all this cost that we've already incurred and that we're going to have to incur to go back down to Texas, it just doesn't make sense. And so I want to hang on to the money. I know a lot of people think that I'm just stingy when it comes to money. If I hadn't been stingy with the money, I would not have been able to buy this property. And this property it's the first time in my life that I've actually been able to just say, you know, I want to go and own something and be able to just pay for it. I've been in debt my entire life. Now I'm debt-free, been debt-free. I'm going to stay debt-free. I'm not going to do anything to jeopardize being debt-free. And then there's the third reason. Carolyn, I've said many times, has social anxiety. And it's pretty bad. She's done really well in the last 6 months or so, listening to her spiritual videos and different things, and she's gotten a lot better here recently. But running into people wanting to talk, people wanting to invite themselves into your picnic area or your campfire is a real struggle for her. And so she's always had troubles dealing with folks out there on the nomadic lifestyle. And so here we are at Mom's house. No one comes over. No one bothers us. You know, the most that we'll see is the mailman during the day. And then at night we go into Mom's house and visit with her for a couple hours. And then we're back out in the camper. We can walk around town. Nobody questions what we're doing. You can see the stress actually coming off of her shoulders as well, being back in Missouri and not having to deal with all these strangers wanting to just come and visit. You know, we went out to the nomadic lifestyle thinking that we're going to get away from people, and it wasn't that way. You end up running into a lot of people, and with me being an introvert and Carolyn having social anxiety, it's a real struggle. Thanks for watching. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.